Today is another video telling day. Not entirely sure exactly what the story will be today. Hopefully everybody's enjoying these stories. I could always go back to doing more, I guess, spiritual things. The storytelling aspect, it takes me out of my comfort zone, so that's why I'm doing it. Mainly for that reason. Back at the ocean today. Just breathing in the sea foam. Feeling the rumbling of the rocks that get bashed with the waves. It's actually been a while. I've been distant. What makes me so comfortable with what I've done, everything I continue to do, I would really say that it's an experience most people would want to go through. Although, to be entirely fair, I don't know how many people would be willing to do horrible things for the sake of a cause. That is kind of saying that you'll never know what you'll do until you've already done it. And with that kind of understanding and viewing of that situation under those circumstances, you could come to understand where I'm coming from. And I've seen something today, and it came across as like a pop, a whiz, a zing. Ridiculous. What I've experienced was not only so raw of an experience, but also one that hard to explain. For the longest time, I know I spoke about how much I hate that suit and how much no one could blame me for the things that I have done, but being in that new experience, feeling something, finally going through something that could revolutionize or at least reveal the inner workings of myself. I can't say it's the same. So much of that, no one can blame me. I was just following orders, fell away today. Just like a couple of days ago. Something was finally lost on me. Something finally really cut through that safety net that I've put on myself. It all just, in a very literal, very figurative sense as well, just melted away. I was watching people marching down this line, going through this experience. Everything that I've ever worked towards, this, we'll just call it as it is, it was a concentration camp. When it comes to what an understanding of a concentration is, all of these people funneled into one place, so it is a concentration of people. The most uncomfortable thing about it is that there's this cold acceptance that if you could name your target, then they cease to be anything. They cease to be human. If you can call them something like savages, if you can compare them to animals, if you can compare them to something, it makes it easier to do this kind of stuff. That's just negligence. It's bullshit. I've had it up to here with how much political crap sits at the top. All I see is people. And you know what? Those people should blame me for the things that I've done. And I accept that. I take that. Because I was willing to buy that shit as long as I was comfortable. I was comfortable in being that kind of person. I was comfortable wearing the suit and watching them march to their deaths. We lived a long time. Not necessarily as people, but as human beings on the planet. We've come to accept that as long as we can put a distance between ourselves and somebody else, then that puts us in the right. This experience. Something in their eyes as they marched. Never seen it before. We broke these people. We've torn them down. Not just us, not the group that I work for, not what the suits represent, not anything that we could have done, I could have done. Just people looking for a headline. The kind of way that they all look at people. They finally turned on us. All those reporters who make it big by manipulating people finally turned on us. The tide became something that we couldn't predict. And I went from the concentration camp to finally being seen out on the street, doing our day-to-day business as people outside of our suits, outside of our comfort, outside of our ability to disguise ourselves. That's when we finally saw it. We finally saw the piece of shit that we were in the eyes of other people that were not in the concentration camps. I met with a lot of people. I met with generals, sergeants, captains, people in positions that they wouldn't have otherwise been if it hadn't been for the ability to mass sacrifice people, as they would call it. whatever they claim a terrorist to be. Somebody who threatens the livelihood of a nation. Who the fuck can put them in a position where they have a say like that? So yeah, we got to see the people that we were through the eyes of people that we don't hunt anymore. If I step outside, the same damn look. You know, and it hit home for me. But for whatever reason, it didn't hit home for some of the others who were in higher positions than myself. Instead, they just smile, grit their teeth, and say they should be lucky that it came out so soon. Because maybe they too would have ended up on the chopping block. And they could still be on the chopping block. As they sat there, smiling. Barely make out anything else other than them smiling. Something gave in me. Finally. Something finally kicked over in me. Like I couldn't do anything else other than what I was told till that moment. Till it really began to sink in. I would have been just like that asshole across from me at the table. And all these other assholes in this bar, in this place. I'd be just like them. Able to say something like, yeah, eventually there will be a comeback, and I'll come back and I'll kill them, just as much as I've went out of my way to murder all those people at the concentration camps, knowing that I'm wrong, knowing full well that I'm wrong, and still believe I'm in the right. Guess that's what happens when you have so much to lose, right? You just sit at the top, hoping the bottom doesn't come out from underneath you. It was like a fucking rock slide. This was days ago. That started coming apart. And that epiphany that I had sitting across from that guy. If I can even call him that. At the same time, I can't even call myself a person. You know, the thing about war crimes is that you won't know that you're going to be a war criminal until you've already done something. Until you've already put yourself in the position in which you believed somebody was in the right and you were willing to work and do exactly what that person told you. Just for you to be under the bus. No longer the top of the chain, you are the bottom rung. So I came to the ocean. Because I'm done. I've committed atrocious crimes.